I am going to regret this. I can feel it already. Hi, it's Jessie. Today I am drinking Happy Lucky's Lemon Dragon Tea, and I'll be reading The Love Hypothesis. Back at the beginning of the year, back in January, beginning of the year, I posted this video in which I said, I gotta be honest, I really don't want to read The Love Hypothesis. And it's still true. I'll get into the why I'm so hesitant, we'll say hesitant, to read this momentarily. But what happened when I did that video? I put The Love Hypothesis on hold at my library, didn't really think about it. And then when I was doing the vlog, reading favorite books, I realized how long the wait was at my library. I was like person like 260 something in line, and it wasn't worth the wait. It wasn't. But I had a friend. I have a friend who is reading her way through TikTok book recommendations, and she read The Love Hypothesis, and she told me it was fun and cheesy and bad in just the right way. So I did another look-see at my library, and they have the large print edition, and the line was only like 7 people long. So I will be reading The Love Hypothesis in large print edition. Wow, I can like almost read that from here. Why didn't I want to read this? I am exploring romance this year. It's been one of my goals for 2022 is to just read romance, figure out what I like in romance, because I've read romances I've liked and I've read romances I haven't. And this was just not one I wanted to try out for 2 reasons. One, this is very publicly known to have evolved from a Raylo fanfiction. I hate Raylo. I'm very, very, very rarely anti-shipping anyone or anything. I draw my line at incest and children, generally. The exception to that being abuse. I don't support abusive relationships. I feel like that's not a radical thing to say. Where that becomes controversial is whether or not you actually view a relationship or a shipping dynamic as abusive. To me, Raylo and Ray and Kylo, it's abusive. They're literally, their first interaction is him torturing her and delving into her mind, totally breaching her consent, her security in order to find information. Like, that's not okay. And even with redemption of any sort, if you think he is redeemed or deserves to be redeemed, you don't go back to that. Like, I don't care if a person changes, they've abused you, you don't go back to that. It's unhealthy, it creates unhealthy cycles. Long story short, I don't ship Raylo. So this being a Raylo fanfiction just makes me not want to read it. But, you know, I could see past that. You know, there's some things in this I think I would like. Fake dating, always a good time. Grump Sunshine, very fun. But I've also watched reviews. This has become kind of a love to hate kind of book on Booktube. So I've watched a lot of rants about this. I've seen a few too many vlogs where somebody has read this and hated it. Now I've also watched videos where people have read it and loved it. I think the difference is the people that hate it seem to actually come with some receipts. They like read out excerpts, and it just, I don't think I'm gonna like it. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. So I'm gonna do a reading diary similar to like my Stormlight or Gardens of the Moon videos, where I'm gonna read this, update you periodically. We'll see how I feel. My plan, I haven't tabbed yet, but I'm planning on updating it like every 20%, just kind of so you can feel my feelings as I go along, knowing that I am going into this thinking I'm going to hate it, but trying to have an open mind because somebody I trust really, really loves it. So we'll see. Alright, I'm playing D&D, so I have exactly 7 minutes before I have to be back to my group, but I wanted to update before I forget, and at least this way it keeps it short. Before I get into any spoiler sections, The Love Hypothesis is about Olive, which is probably one of my least favorite names of all time due to solely the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. Anyway, Olive is a PhD student who lies to her best friend about dating Adam, one of the, yes, Adam, one of the professors at the school she's at, not her professor, in order to convince her friend that it's okay for her to date a guy she went out with like twice. And I'm highlighting that because everybody else says her ex, the book says her ex. She goes on like 2 dates with the guy, and her best friend's like, I can't go out with this guy because you went out with him, and so she lies. Actually, that's not true. Her friend doesn't say anything like that to her. Her friend just feels uncomfortable dating this guy, and so Olive makes up that she's in another relationship so that her friend thinks she's over this guy and can date him. The plot's a little contrived, but I'm used to that from rom-coms, so I'm okay with it. From here on out, it's going to be spoilers for whatever section of the book I'm in. So this is the first 20%, which is the prologue and the first 3 chapters. I've started tabbing, and this is not picking up the colors well at all. I have blue tabs for things I like, pink tabs for things I don't like, and yellow tabs, which I will come to later. Right now, definitely more pink than blue tabs. What I am noticing is a general trend. I like Adam. I think he's got this dry, sarcastic wit that is so funny to me, especially because Olive just doesn't pick up on it, which makes it twice as funny for me. So the stuff with Adam, I'm finding I like. Olive, I can't stand. I think her personality changes depending on the situation. She's not consistent. She's very shallow. She's just not that interesting to me. She's shy and awkward and uncomfortable around. She's just so stereotypical. The other thing I don't like is some of the writing. I swear every time Olive interacts with Adam, it has to highlight how big he is, how large he is, and it's driving me up a wall. Now, maybe Jack Edwards is to blame for this because of that tweet, you know, the one. But really, like, it drives me up a wall. Here, I have a quote that's just like, this isn't necessarily about how big he is. This is just, here's a paragraph from, is this when they first meet? Yeah, this is from the prologue. This is, they have just met. She doesn't know this is, so that's the other thing. Sorry. There are 2 kind of things I'm already anticipating being twists later in this that are not going to be shocking or surprising at all for me, the reader, but they're apparently going to be surprising for Olive. The one is that she meets a guy in the prologue that she doesn't know who it is because she can't see very well because of her contacts, and that's Adam, like, obviously. But Olive doesn't know that when she's interacting with him later. She has no idea, but like, it's so obvious. And then the other one is that there is a guy from Harvard that has a research lab that Olive wants to go do research in, and Adam, he's been talking about there's a guy at her college she has a partnership with, and that's why he's going to be on campus so she can meet with him. And Adam has mentioned that he has a partnership with a guy off campus. Sorry about the washing machine if you can hear it. And they're working together, obviously, and especially because there was a thing he mentioned about like how he can't work with her because of this relationship. So, like, obviously that's going to be, like, a twist later. It might be the 3rd act conflict. Like, how obvious could it be? Like, anyway. So, anyway, this is the beginning where she is meeting a man. And even worse, Thanksgivings. That's what you Americans get for leaving the Commonwealth. She held out her hand in what she hoped was his general direction. I'm Olive, by the way, like the tree. She was starting to wonder whether she just introduced herself to the drain disposal when she heard him step closer. The hand that closed around hers was dry and warm and so large it could have enveloped her whole fist. Everything about him must be huge. Height, fingers, voice. It was not entirely unpleasant. Like, first off, the kind of, like, bantering about America, I've had Canadian friends make jokes like that, but, like, with friends. It's not, like, the first thing you say to somebody. Olive like the tree. That's not, Olive is not, like, you don't need to clarify that, but also he's just so big. Anyway, but there's some cute moments, there's some fun moments. Like I said, I really like Adam. I like how quickly he jumped in on the thing when it happened, when he finds out why, like, doesn't even hesitate. The one, like, but like, he just has this dry wit that's fun to me, like, she's talking about, like, the fake dating and things, and she's like, I don't know, what if you're like, I don't know, are you married? And he's like, my wife and the twins won't mind. And she just, like, falls for, it's just very funny to me. So I like Adam. Some of their interactions are kind of cute, but mostly awkward, and so awkward not in a fun way, in an uncomfortable way. Now, the sticky note and my yellow tabs, oh my god, the lighting in here, and the yellow tabs, here's a hypothesis of my own. Obviously, I'm not very far in the book yet, but my hypothesis is that this entire book would be infinitely better if it ended up being a romance between Olive and her best friend, An. Hear me out. They already have way more chemistry than Olive and Adam have. And I just think the idea that, like, Olive going to these extents so that An would feel comfortable dating her ex, and then it ends up being something where they they're friends and they're always together, and there's this thing where they always feel awkward about the other one dating this other guy, but, like, don't really ever express it, and that at the end there's a big third act conflict about, oh, you lied to me, how could you do that, and blah 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 blah. And I think that would be infinitely better. So the yellow tabs are all the times that An and Olive have an interaction that to me seems better set up for a romance than anything that's going on with Adam. I'll update you after another 20%. All right, another 20% down. That puts me after I just finished chapter 7. I ran out of red tabs, pink tabs, so now I'm using orange. Oh no, don't fall over, don't fall over. It got to a point where, like, now I'm not thinking about it nearly as much. It's a lot more just reading and vibing with it, which is definitely where I like to be when I read a book, especially something kind of lighthearted and silly in my head. Like this. So I think that's ultimately a good thing. The things now that are bothering me are the stuff that's like, I can't suspend my disbelief to accept that. So basically, all of chapter 6. Let me list the things that they have done because her best friend forces. It's so weird the way An responds to all of this stuff, which makes me think that An knows it's fake. Because I would never, ever in my entire life tell my best friend to do stuff like this. Ever. Like, even when I was in, like, high school and we were just starting to get boyfriends and, like, it was exciting. Like, never. Not even as a joke. Maybe for, like, a long-term boyfriend, like, you know, but never for somebody like, I just found out my best friend started dating. Like, in what world is that normal behavior? So let me get that, there we go. Specifically, in series, there was the talk, Tom's talk, where An, like, insists that Olive sit on Adam's lap, which is like, can we talk about inappropriate? Like, this is an academic setting. It's his work. Like, it's not like this is another grad student, right? Another PhD candidate. That would be one thing, right? But it's his work. He's at work. That's not appropriate, right? An insists that she sit on his lap. And she does. And then An insists she give him a kiss, which was less awkward. I mean, like, the fact that they run up, have a whole conversation, and then kiss, like, that was a little awkward, but, like, okay, whatever. And then at the picnic, the sunscreen thing, again, inappropriate. I mean, like, I guess there's ways, like, you can rub sunscreen on somebody without it seeming inappropriate, but, like, and An, again, is the one pushing her to do it. Like, it comes across to me very much like An is in on it and just trying to get her to break and tell her the truth. That's what it feels like. Especially because she told her other friends, so it would not surprise me if he let it slip to her. But yeah, it's uncomfortable. Every time she does some form of PDA, like at a school function, so at his work, it's uncomfortable to me. Like, viscerally uncomfortable. That's basically all I have to say about it at this point. It's not bad. It's still not, like, It's giving me very much, I would like this as a rom-com I was watching, but reading it's not quite doing it. Although there is some good funny there's some good funny moments that kind of work on the page, but for the most part I'm here like just uncomfortable with the unprofessionality of it all. I'll update you at another 20%. Alright, another 20% down. That puts us 60%. We're past the halfway point. And honestly, I'm getting kind of bored. That's where I'm at this point. Olive has finally figured out that she likes Adam as more than just friends. Adam has clearly been in love with her since this started. Like, that's the whole reason he's doing it, and she's not figuring it out, which is super frustrating. Adam's personality has faded throughout the book somehow, and Olive still changes her personality based on the situation. I'm getting bored. There's nothing to keep me engaged. There isn't like tension of like, oh, will they, won't they? Because like, they're going to eventually. There aren't like little hints like, get a life Chloe Brown, or yeah, we'll go with that as an example. That's probably, well, I guess take a hint, Danny Brown, whichever one. Like, they started progressing in the relationship throughout the book, and by like 70% of the book they were like in the relationship, and then the rest was just figuring out how to make that work. They haven't progressed at all. They're still in the same place, and it's starting to get boring, just really boring. I'm also nearly out of tabs. I've kind of stopped tabbing at this point unless something is like egregious, which is fine. I still think there's some cute, funny moments that work for me, but for the most part, it's just kind of starting to slow down. I'm also getting really sick of the long italicized internal monologues in Olive's head. Like, I don't care what she thinks at this point. There was something good I was gonna address, and now I don't remember what it was. Something I wasn't gonna mention myself because I didn't really think it was gonna be a thing, but then like the way it's handled is uncomfortable. So one of the reviews I was watching, one of the vlogs, I think it was Clockwork Readers, maybe, they mentioned that Olive expresses things in a way that would seem like she's on the A spectrum, probably demisexual. And it's not ever called that by name. So like early on, and I don't think I tabbed it, so it doesn't really matter, there's a moment where she's talking about like how she's never really been interested in a guy that way, and like that she really needs to get to know somebody before she even kisses them, things like that. And I was like, all right, yeah, whatever. Like, but it doesn't have to say the words. It's fine that that's there. Like, I would not call it representation because it's not explicitly said, but like, it's something you can see yourself in, right? But then there's this. They talked about it multiple times, how rare it was for her to experience attraction, especially sexual attraction, if there was something wrong with her, if her past had stunted her in some way. And that's not okay. If you are not going to explicitly call her a demi, if you're not going to take the time to responsibly explore that, you can't just throw out something like she thinks there's something wrong with her because she doesn't experience sexual attraction. That's super not okay. You can't just have a character. I'm sorry, I'm getting really mad about this because I am A-spec and I have felt that way. Like, I've had that conversation. And so for this book to just like throw out casually, like, they had talked about if there was something wrong with her, her past had stunted her, and just that's it. It's like 2 lines, it's throwaway. That makes me so mad. Like, it really makes me angry, especially if like, depending on how it's portrayed the rest of the book, which again, it's just something going on in the background, which almost makes me more annoyed now. Like, I was fine with that being the case, and then you throw, and if it is, and I'm not saying it's going to be, if it is that like portrayed that like Adam is this cure for her, it's the one thing that makes her emotionally and sexually available, and she's just been needing something to fill, I will lose it. But right now, it's just like that line just made me so angry. Like, there is nothing wrong with you if you don't experience sexual attraction. You're not traumatized or broken. You're not stunted. There's nothing wrong with you. And I'm just so mad that it just casually threw that line out there, and I'm gonna take a minute, calm myself down. Okay. Moving on from that, the other thing I want to add to my growing hypothesis, not only would this book be better if she ended up with On, although On's personality also has gotten watered down throughout everybody's getting watered down throughout this book. But not only would it be better if Olive and On ended up together, but also if Holden and Adam realized their secret attraction to each other, would also make this pretty good. But obviously they're setting it up. I assume they're setting it up so that Malcolm ends up with Holden in the end, which is kind of cute. And like, I wouldn't hate a sequel about them. Maybe. If only because both Holden and Malcolm have better personalities than either Olive or Adam at this point. Like everybody, I liked Adam at the beginning. I thought he was charming and funny but like, not really. There's also been, and this is something I didn't really bother to bring up earlier myself because it's what's brought up in a lot of the reviews, which is that like, we're told Adam is really a jerk and an a-hole a lot, but we never actually see it. And like, I thought that was intentional, that like, one of two things. Either like, Olive is getting a misrepresentation of what he is, and that like he's actually a nice guy and people are just bitter because they actually aren't good and he's telling them that. Like, I think it could definitely lean really interestingly into the entitled white boy in academics, and that there's in academia, and that there is like, this is the first time these entitled white boys are being told they're not perfect. Would have been an interesting way to take that, and that like everything that Olive is hearing actually isn't true about him, that he's just honest, and that, or you know, the other thing, which is that like, which is what it's going for, which is that he is a jerk, just not to her. But like, we actually have to see him be a jerk for that to work, I think. And all we get is like his side of it. Like I just don't. It's not doing anything for me for him to have this persona of being a jerk. It's not adding anything other than, ooh, her friend was mad for one page that they're dating, you know? All in all though, I, at this point, am liking the book more than I expected to like it, but still not loving it, and I'm getting bored. So hopefully in the next section, it turns it around, especially because we're about to do they have to share a hotel room thing. Also, on that note, I am getting kind of sick of the like rom-com references, like Olive referring to rom-coms. Like, there's just something about like a rom-com referring to a rom-com. Like, I think it's supposed to come across as like self-aware, and like it comes across as like, well, if you know this is dumb, don't do it. Like she knows rom-coms, she knows fake dating tropes, and if you thought this wasn't gonna result in her forming feelings, like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't, but whatever. I'll see you at 80%. I am just so bored. That's the feeling right now, bored. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. I will take a bad book over a boring book. I don't care. I don't think Adam and Olive are a good couple. I don't think they have a lot of chemistry, not particularly. I don't care about them. So, anyway, we finally got, I'm 80% in now, what chapter, 17? Yeah, through chapter 17. Finally got to the sex scene, you know, the sex scene, he could fit her whole breast in his mouth sex scene that everybody quotes. I will say, it's not as bad as that quote makes it out to be. That quote, it's not good. It's not sexy. It's awkward and weird. But that's like the worst of it. Most of it is better than that. That's not to say it's good. It's really just fine. Decidedly fine. That's there's a lot of food talking, talking about food and eating, and that's not exactly my favorite thing, but it wasn't that bad. So I do have a couple issues though with it, and it's more the way it's framed. First off, we did get that awkward conversation where she's like, you know, because he's like, you're not a virgin, right? And she's like, no, I'm not, but like, and goes on a whole tirade about how she doesn't really like sex, and it must mean there's something wrong with her. And like, I'm tired. I'm not gonna do the rant again, but like, there is nothing wrong with you. If you do not want sex, if you do not enjoy sex, if you don't like sex, if you don't have sex, there's nothing wrong with you. And I hate that this book is implying that there is. And because nobody's telling her she's wrong when she thinks these things. She thinks it, she just says it to him, and he doesn't make like some like, no, there's nothing wrong with that. He just like moves on. Anyway, but other than that, it's just very abrupt. And the consent in my mind is a little iffy. It's a lot of, no, we can't do this. No, no, no. And then a very sudden like, oh, okay, we're gonna do it. And it's also like sudden, both in and out. Like it's like there is a lead up to them having sex, and then a chapter break, and then they have sex, and then a chapter break, and then it's the after. And it's just very awkward because it doesn't feel like a natural lead in, and it just feels like a sex scene. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm wording this well. But like, it's not that bad. I've read worse. I've read much better, but I've read worse. So like, it's not that bad. That's really all I have to say about this section. The stuff with Tom, I don't think this book really needed this plot. I don't think it needed this like enemy villain character. I know it's supposed to add conflict because it's one of his best friends and yada yada. And I guess that's the point, but like, I could do without it. Also, Adam, we're just getting to know Adam, and I really feel like a lot of the stuff, the interactions outside of the sex, between Adam and Olive should have happened like half a book ago from where it's at. Like, we really should have been getting to know Adam better before this point. Because really, honestly, Olive's attraction to Adam, I'm gonna be honest, seems like it's just, well, he buys me food. And like, valid, good for you, but like, I just don't feel the chemistry between them. Like, I kind of see I kind of see him being in love with her because of like their first meeting and like how that, you know, she showed she's not a mediocre white man just trying to make daddy happy. Or, oh, not me calling out my friends. Or, you know, somebody trying to, you know, just do it for the money or the status. Like, she's in it for something real. And I can see why he would be into her, but I don't really, her attraction to him is just, a lot of romances just rely on, well, it's a guy and a girl interacting for a long time and they're nice to each other, so that's love, right? So 20% left to go. I'm going out to meet some friends for lunch, so that'll be later, but we'll see how the ending is. I'm just bored. I finished it. I'm going to try to make this quick because I should have been in bed like half an hour ago. So let's start with some spoily thoughts on the ending. It ended. I think that's it. I like Holden and Malcolm. Yeah, that's it. Give me a second. Is there anything else? The confrontation with Tom did not care for it. I think that was, don't get me wrong, like Tom should get everything that's coming to him, obviously. But the way that she just like played the recording in the restaurant was just messy. It was a little too messy. I don't understand why she wouldn't have waited until she could have gotten Adam out of the restaurant. I understand wanting to talk to Adam before like filing an official report, because like it is her friend and his friend, and it could have been really uncomfortable to find out about it another way. Plus, like, it probably helps to have a powerful person backing her up, as much as that sucks. But like, just playing the clip in the restaurant really was weird, and especially because then Adam then like lashed out, which then could cause problems to him, because even if Tom deserved it, like, still, like, you can get in trouble. It's still assault. Good reason, still assault. So I didn't really care for that confrontation, but like, whatever. What are you gonna do? Gotta add a little drama. Yeah, that's really it. Don't really have any other thoughts. We finally talked about them being in the bathroom thing. It was dumb. It was dumb. The little double date at the end was cute. I liked that, but that's more because I like Holden and Malcolm than anything else. I think that covers it. There's definitely some stuff there at the end that I wish we had gotten earlier. I've been kind of going back and forth on this throughout the whole time reading, whether or not I think I would have liked this more if we'd gotten Adam's perspective. Because most of the romance books I've read up to this point that I've liked have been dual perspective. Brown Sisters are, Romancing the Duke was, People We Meet on Vacation wasn't. So, but the stuff I like, the romance. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would have preferred this if we'd gotten Adam's perspective. I do think I would have bought the romance a little bit more, because quite frankly, from Poppy's perspective, I didn't get it. But Adam has like more reason to have been interested in her. Like, he, creepy as it is, he'd been watching her. But like, there was something early on that like sparked that interest in him, and then like he had been, that interest continued. So I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if we could have seen his side. Not to say we need to release the book again with his perspective. I just think I would have liked the book a little more with his perspective included. That's really all my thoughts in the end. Well, I'm going to get to the spoiler-free section, give a spoiler-free review for anybody that wants that. So, spoiler-free thoughts. I gave it a 2.63. It came out to like 5.25 perfectly, so whatever that is in half. It was, my Twitter review for this was, well, that was a book I read, or something along those lines. And I think that's the best thing I can say about this. Like, the best way I can sum up my thoughts. I'm not going to think about this book again. I read it, and it's gone. Like, it wasn't atrociously bad, which is what I was kind of expecting out of this, based on the number of rant reviews it has gotten. But it also wasn't fantastic. I like the depiction of academia in this. I think it's done really well. I was talking with a friend that loved it, and that was one of the things she highlighted that she really liked, because she is a grad student, and a more traditional grad student than the kind I am. And she was saying that like that element resonated with her, and I agree. I think that was really well done. I just didn't buy the romance at all, and if I don't buy the romance in a romance novel, it's kind of failed to do what it's set up to do. Yeah, I think that's kind of my thoughts. Adam's personality, he has one at the beginning that I really like, and then it just kind of disappears as the book goes on. Olive never really had a personality to me. It was just stereotypical, klutzy, awkward girl. Now, she did have drive and ambition that I really liked. It just, having goals is not a personality, you know? Having a tragic backstory is not a personality. Yeah, On also got less interesting as the book went on. It's just, yeah, that's how I felt about it. Would have been a better love story between On and Olive. Still hate the name Olive. I think that covers basically all of my thoughts on this. I'm never going to think about this book again. Anyway, if you like this, please hit the like button, subscribe if you would like to see more from me. If you enjoyed this kind of video and want to see more of these, comment down below, specifically comment books you would like to see this for. Now, typically I do it for like epic fantasy series that are super popular, but if there's something you would like more like this style, where it's like one book I read over a weekend to give you my thoughts on, please comment what books you are interested. My story graph link is in the description if you want to check through my want to read there and give me some ideas of books like, hey, if you read this one, I'd love to hear your thoughts. While you're down there, there's also Twitter and the podcast my brother and I did. And that, I think, is everything. I'm gonna get myself some tea and go to bed. Love y'all. Bye.